Hey folks, Reloading Bench back with you once again. I think I'm going to call this video Lessons Learned. We've had 2 outings now with the 416 and over the last week, and I've discovered some interesting things, some expected, some not expected. I think the biggest surprise with what I would say, and hopefully you're all having a good day, I would say the biggest surprise was actually brass related, and the most expected, not surprise I guess, but expected challenge was around the scope and the mount in terms of did we get it right and was it the most optimal. So I'll start with the brass, and this will probably be a couple of videos chained together, but I'll start with the brass in that the ones that performed, and I'll get to that, performed great. No issues, obviously shooting commercial. First outing we shot 10 commercial and 20 of the reloads, but we couldn't shoot all 20 of the reloads because 3 of them would not chamber, and I'll get to what happened there. So in terms of the pin, firing pin and striking the primer, we've got a nice solid strike there, and that was consistent across all primers. A little bit dirty and needing to be cleaned now that we've had the outing. But when it came to chambering, so what I had done, my dummy round, when I was first dealing with cartridge overall length, and the 450 grain bullet versus the 395 powder, all that good stuff, and I learned that my overall length was probably within, I think it was 5.163, and there was a gentleman shooting 5.161, and because of these bullets I was getting anywhere from 5.161 to 5.165, and I think I could go up to 5.168 if memory serves. So there was no problem shooting the ones that chambered, but what happened was, or what I found was, for the ones that wouldn't chamber, I discovered that I discovered 2 things. One, when I pulled everything, even though my overall length was fine, I found that my brass was a little bit long on those few that wouldn't chamber. Instead of being 3.263, they were significantly higher, like 3.278. And the reason, you could say it was misfortune or whatever, but I got in touch with Lee, and the case gauge length, I discovered there was no possible way, even though I had that made, to trim to 3.263 because of the webbing of the inner pocket and the length. The cutter just was not short enough, or it wouldn't make contact with the top of the brass to trim to 3.263. So that was something I learned. So I kind of lucked out with other cases that were just fire formed and actually didn't need trimming. So I ended up talking to Lee, and they're remaking the case gauge length, and I'll show another video when that comes back what I'm also doing in terms of looking at alternative trimming methods, but I'll save that for another video. I also learned that part of the chambering issue, if it was short enough, 3.263, that and it still wouldn't chamber, was potentially because of the full length resizing, and I ended up readjusting my seating die, starting from scratch again, pulling it all the way out, lowering it to the shell holder, and then going in increments of 1/8 to 1/4, and found that exactly 1/4 and full length resizing, with that I was able to chamber all of the rounds. So the next outing was we were able to shoot everything, so that worked out very well. The other painful surprise, I wouldn't call it painful as much, was the takedown pin. So I just ordered this. The previous takedown pins, the extended takedown pins that we put on the lower, did not have this ring, so essentially kind of look like that. But because we ended up tightening the set screw, the upper set screw, so much to eliminate wiggle, you would have to have like a Delrin punch to push the takedown pin out to clean the barrel. And that was a little bit of a pain in the behind because we had that so tight that per the break-in instructions for the barrel, the duty barrel, we were supposed to clean, swab, and lubricate that barrel after every shot for the first, I think it's 50 shots. So we were shooting, taking the barrel apart, or rather taking the upper and lower apart, cleaning, reassembling, and having to do the Delrin punch every single time. Got to be a little bit old, so we went ahead and ordered these takedown pins that have a ring on them. So not that we'll be pulling out the lower, or rather the takedown pin to separate the lower and upper that much more anymore, because I think we've got the barrel just about broken in. But food for thought, comes in handy. Didn't consider what we would need to do to break in the barrel. So that was, I would say, a little bit of a surprise. So again, brass sizing, brass trimming, the takedown pin. I'll get into in another video what we did with the scope mount. We had one incident with a little bit of scope bite, very minor, just barely touched safety glasses. But because it happened, we decided to move the scope mount up about an inch, a little better eye relief. We also have the ability to, on the back of the butt pad, extend that about an inch as it's adjustable. So we'll spend another video segment on the scope mount, and then the challenges we had with zeroing. We chose to zero, not quite zero, but get on paper at 35 yards, and we were doing that with the factory ammo to try and narrow that scope in a little bit to bullseye. And we found that that was very easy to do. But when we stepped out to 100 yards, and then we're using 450 grain bullets, it was like starting from scratch. So it was a bit of a challenge there. And the rifle packs a punch. So I'll talk a little bit more in another video about what we did with scope, remounting and zeroing, and some of the challenges in that space. And we'll talk to you quite soon.